You got to give away blue ribbons for sure.
That's fucking funny and so mean and not okay. Funny though.
That's why they call me edgy. Yeah, I'm. So there's value created in work. Just looking at the system as a whole, you can buy coin
Yeah.
and inject it. I'm a rich bored millionaire, but I like giving away shit, and I want to look like a G. I buy the coin, I can dispense it.
Right.
That's one way in.
Yeah.
If it's just that, then that's capitalism, and that
Right.
means they have all the influence.
Right.
So this goes back to, yeah, you generate work.
Yeah. Are we recording?
I just started.
Cool.
I think I'll put like a.
Will you just tell me?
Yeah.
When we start recording?
Yeah.
So it helps me.
Yeah. Yeah. Need like a red light on air. Yeah, there's got to be an on air light. Just...
Right.
So, I think I'll just put them all these things in the Discord channel, and we can just monitor that. The Facebook channel is private, but
yeah.
It's a real interesting concept of doing work to create value. Because I think there's a secret little thing in there where we as an app, as a system, get value when someone completes a task. Because the energy was of just someone added an info of a task, they assigned it, so two people did a thing and validated each other. I think like a proof of work could come down to just other people vouching.
Right.
Just through the app, like, did you bartend that night? Yeah, I was there. I saw him.
Yeah.
Because there's proof of work for like the computational proof of work.
And that's pure validated, ideally, basically.
Right.
Right. Same terminology, even.
Right. Like a Bitcoin node does a computation. It can kind of prove with a hash table or something that it did it. I don't really know.
Yeah.
You have a Bitcoin node nearby as well. It kind of sends you a similar thing. You do that, but it's super intensive.
Yeah.
You're like creating work just to prove that you did it.
Right.
I'm feeling like because we have a holistic system, which apparently no one else really does. Do we reward people by like minting coin? So minting coin means nothing for us. We can generate 100 documents that are coins, theoretically. If we just generate that, it's full inflation, no like tactile value. Right? There's no limit. Then that's when we say, well, we'll only mint this amount, or that, and everyone gets, proof of work. My point is there's value in that transaction. If users join and they do these tasks, they're not only creating content for the site, but they're validating relationships. That to me is the key. Here's a human, here's another human. If they're just one human, they could lie about what they do. I accomplished all these things.
Right.
Not a little useful.
Yeah.
But ultimately, here's another human that says, yes, this person did that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little easier to fake.
Mm-hmm.
You could have 5 of your friends each say that, yeah, you did this thing, but you didn't really.
Mm-hmm.
So the more validators you have, the tougher it is to fake.
Right.
Even just like logging out and logging in and, validating someone sort of fakely.
Yeah.
But each time, if you have 32 different people validating you, and maybe each one of those people have 1,000 transactions themselves,
mm-hmm.
that's damn near impossible to fake.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the user activity is getting into that proof of work place. So somewhere in there, we can reward people, or maybe it's like match 1-to-1. I don't know. Or we just, as the founders, go, we'll, jam night. We want that to go well. We'll match 1-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
So we're minting half the coin as work is done.
Then what do people even need to do with the coin if their work produces the coin?
I don't fucking know.
That's a question I have for like Charles,
Yeah.
Like, okay, Demirage, and your work producing a coin. Okay, so, well, Demirage, my work, I'm a baker, my work produces bread. Now I can trade that bread for chickens. If I don't trade that bread quick enough, then it goes bad. So I need to like move all this bread now. I can only get as many chickens as people want to give me for the bread they need now. Can't be like, fuck you, no bread for you. I'm hoarding it until you give me more chickens. Because it's all like degrading. But then there's all these different like currencies that have like different decay rates and stuff, like payoffs. So they're all like their own kind of like, productive entity with like, parameters about how that bread works in the commodity market versus how that chicken works. The chicken produces more eggs. Once you eat the chicken, no more eggs. Once you eat the bread, you gotta eat the bread soon. I don't know. I'm just like going into it like how. So then we create a currency. Normally the banker's like, this looks hard negotiating all these trades all the time. So use this symbolic currency. And they're like, great, that makes it easier. Okay. But I guess at first it's kind of arbitrary, like how much people decide. They're like, all right, well, I got 100 coins from the baker, so I guess for your chicken, I'll offer 1. And then you're like, no, 2 for my chicken. And I'll give you 1 for your bread. It's like 1 chicken is 2 breads, usually. So now we're like equivalating it into the symbolic currency.
Mm-hmm. Right, because that was a transfer data point.
Yeah.
At this point, between these two people, these things were valued at that.
Right.
And like you said, it's not 1 bread for 2 chickens or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's it's like the value of the chickens are doing this and the value of the bread's doing this. And
Right,
at that
exactly.
moment, the person needed more than, and it's
Right.
like, it just happened to meet, but that's an important time. This was,
Yeah. And maybe it sets some kind of precedent, but like it still depends on the supply and demand of the things involved in the trade.
mhm.
There's some precedent, but like, you know, maybe that's a good heuristic for about what it's worth right now. But if the supply demand curve changes, then you want to be able to like accurately metric the whole system and say this is what this exchange is right now based on all these other relationships,
Mhm.
right? It's like a huge fucking gauge theory calculus Mobius knot of a million relational values.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 And that's the rigidity of like the fiat system. Like I go to buy a bagel for $5 or whatever. You can't barter. It's inefficient, that system.
Right.
You go up to the counter and be like, I'll give you 4. And they're like, no.
Right.
Well, no one's buying, so I'll do it for, I don't know.
Right.
With the information that we have now, yeah, it's like, here is the market rates. And
yeah. There's big enterprise software that does that with like massive commodities markets all over the world, and they're like, okay, what's the spot price this second of a pound of corn that I actually need to order right now?
mm-hmm.
You know. And then when I worked at Backpackers Pantry, that's what this woman Charlene would do. Shailene, she would sit on her computer all day, and she'd buy that corn when it was like fell.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
She'd literally like, yeah. So then there's like trackers tracking the commodities markets for these buying groups who need it at a certain price. And they're like, they probably have all kinds of algorithms like auto buying, like when it falls to a certain, just like stocks, but it's like commodities market, but it's like the actual buyers and users, you know, of the commodities.
Yeah, and she knew the market. She had done it enough where she knows what she needs, what's a good price, what's the
Yeah,
moment.
and based on the bookkeeping of their company, it's like we need to get this corn at like, you know, 20 cents a pound. If it's 25 cents, that fucks our books up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's our maximum price for the corn this week.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
But you only have one like layer into it of
Yeah.
just corn first with her business because she knows those worlds. As soon as you add any other products or trading anything for anything, it's incalculable.
Right.
I think it also changes when you have a bi-directional marketplace. You can buy and sell anything of your own.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to buy, I think it changes if I want to buy corn from you for fiat,
Yeah.
or I have bread, and you want bread.
Mm-hmm.
I think yeah. I think that does help with the coin market. Like I feel like having a coin on the Ethereum chain is great. But if you have your own marketplace, like on any level, then there'll always be like a black market for coin exchange.
If you have, wait, say that again?
Well, just that if you have any kind of a marketplace, then people could put up, I'll sell you 10 coin for $20.
Right.
So the fluidity of like, it's not a set transfer value. It's just like 2 chickens to 1 bread. Like it happened to work at that moment.
Right. It's just a liquid exchange medium. Because now you have cash that's a resource, just like that is. It's just this much of that. It's like your stack of chickens. Whatever. But then it's like, who creates that resource? Your stack of chickens. Yeah, if it was easy to just throw 3 chickens at you, we'd just use the chickens
as a currency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cash itself has no inherent value. It would be better if it was like coal. Like, cool, I can burn this. Like fuel.
Mm-hmm. Then that's kind of the utility coin. Like I think why Binance did so well is because there'll always be a use for it.
Right.
And then programmatically they can add more value to that, especially when they add the governance and the holding privileges.
Right.
It's utility. But is it simply the ability to say, I have 3 chickens, I'm willing to sell them for $10 a pop, or willing to make a trade? Here are some things I need because of my projects, my tasks, my services, whatever, like the requests. And then someone.
Yeah, or I'm offering these chickens up and I request gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my wish list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is that the line that we're trying to like walk, where everything's a gift? Therefore, when you
Well, because ideally, I'm like, okay, I need those chickens. I don't have anything on your wish list, but this guy does.
mm-hmm.
Cool. We just all got what we needed.
It's like,
Yeah.
how do you even? How
does that work?
Sesame timbers. Yeah, I think if the interface can facilitate those pieces, then it opens it up. Otherwise, you need to lock a certain value down and kind of enforce it.
Say that again, the first part.
Well, that ability to do like a 3-way transaction. Right. You have painting supplies. He has hockey gear.
Yeah.
I have chickens.
Yeah.
And that 3 thing works.
Right. Like Craigslist, it's just like 1-to-1. But if
Mm-hmm.
everybody puts on their offers and their requests, like our system should just be able to be like, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. So
And then you don't even need an exchange medium because like the actual needs and resources are continuously updating to get people what they need.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Like it can basically just sidestep the need for an exchange medium at all.
Yeah.
You know, with like basic everyday, I need a microwave, you need a toaster, neighbor. That neighbor has a toaster, you have a microwave, but he needs a pan and I have a pan. So we're just like
On the count of 3. Everyone. It's like a Mexican standoff.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay, so I see it now where you need a toaster. That's like a neural connection,
Yeah.
like an attempt.
Yeah.
John has a toaster.
Right.
So we go, okay, this is the potential.
Right.
But what does John need?
Yeah.
Ideally, something that you have.
Yeah.
And maybe then it's like, how many chickens? Okay, so the amount.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then John needs a guitar. Susie has a guitar.
Yeah.
What does Susie need? So we have these like potential electrical connections.
Right.
And when we can go out far enough, well, Susie needs whatever, and Tony has that.
Mm-hmm.
What does Tony need? You just keep going throughout the whole thing.
Right.
And then finally we can go back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So it's like it could be 100.
Yeah.
And then it's like a potential transactional chain.
Yeah. And then like a million people every day are just like going to their neighbor and they're like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like
we're generating gratitude.
Right. And because the whole software and the system has changed exactly,
right.
It just tells you to give this pan to Susie.
Right.
And you'll receive a new chair from Tony.
Right.
All it tells you to do is where to drop off and pick up.
Yeah.
And you can see the value, which is pretty cool.
Because then, yeah, there's no need to like econometrically evaluate the relative value between like the car and the toaster. I guess there kind of still is that need. Unless everyone's just giving everybody what they need all the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's not going to be that fast. The cars still cost money.
The what?
A car still costs more money than a toaster.
Mm-hmm.
In the world we live in. So.
But there is that like phenomena of there's that guy who like traded a paperclip for a house.
Right.
And you can kind of wedge your way.
Yeah, but also like, you know, if it's like something about it is like tracked where it's like, yeah, my throughput is like a lot, you know, I've given away a car. I received a toaster. But then, like, that's kind of like accumulating, right? And then, like, the value of what I can receive is like increasing, maybe something like that. So, like, yeah, I did a bunch of work. I fed a bunch of homeless people. I gave away 3 cars for a few years, and then somebody's like, "All right, here's a house." You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like your metrics are high. Now you qualify to receive gifts, these bigger gifts. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like your collateral.
right?
I
It
just
is kind of like your level is increasing, and so your access to resources is increasing based on your
yeah.
capacity to utilize those resources for positive impact.
Yeah, I just saw a video where I learned it's like here's how the rich get rich. How do people become multi-billionaires?
Right,
It's not because they own a whole bunch of Burger King franchises and
right,
they just get it in. It's that they own a company that is valued at a certain amount.
right,
Shareholders. It's just basic projection.
right,
And they leverage that value into a loan,
right,
which is tax free,
right,
and then use that loan to generate something.
right,
But it's like they don't actually owe anything.
right. Right, yeah, they owe nothing and they use that loan to, like, yeah, maybe then they buy a Burger King.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I own $1 billion company.
But they're not saving up money working a day job to buy a franchise. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I own a big company, I go public with it, now it has this value. Now a bank will give me money.
Right.
It's actually not an asset, but it's a liability on my books. So it's not taxi tax. Yeah. And
And,
then I own a business
right.
that just pays me income,
Right.
which I use to pay back my loan.
Right.
Right. So then
So you get like residual or
and then I evaluate that business, and then I get another loan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like getting uh yeah, you're getting rewarded for just holding it enough
Mm-hmm.
that you have like enough play money to then build other revenue generating entities
Mm-hmm.
basically for free,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all tax deductible or something.
Right.
Anyway, I do think that there is value in saying that you can mint coin by doing tasks.
Yeah.
Like maybe not 100%, but we as the company invest in really anyone doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like you just it's like when we had the whole thing of getting like points for views or clicks, just participation on the site. I mean, it's pennies. You create proof of work, and people vouch. And if I vouch for your work, I should be incentivized to do that. Like as a friend,
Right.
but if I got like 10 cents
Yeah.
for taking the effort, it's like writing a review.
Right.
We as a system are going, great, thank you.
It just pings your phone like, are these tables clean here? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just got 10 cents. Validated that busser.
We're walking through the threads, both socially and economically,
Yeah.
and but then, why would I want to do that if I got 10 cents? Would I lie about it? I guess I could,
Right.
and the tables weren't clean,
Right.
and then it becomes, wait a minute, why Eric? Why did he vouch?
Yeah.
Right, like the agents. We have a bad agent.
Right.
They choose to change their database, and the rest of the agents go, wait a minute, we don't see that, and we outvote you on this change. If someone says the tables weren't cleaned,
Yeah.
and I vouch to say that they were,
Yeah.
now we have like a consensus.
But you don't want it to be like I can just come to you and be like, "Hey, Eric, why don't we like set up this task and I'll just mark it complete and you mark it validated and we'll just like rack up coin."
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like almost we just pay for your gas fees.
Yeah.
It's a balance, right?
Because I mean, even 5 people could get together and do that.
Yeah.
And if it's like a publicly visible thing, and any stranger is like, "Is this thing this thing?" And they're like, "Yeah, that thing is that thing." Or no, that's not that fucking thing. And then it's like that alerts another stranger, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's not that thing that these 5 people said is that thing." You know, and then like 30 people are like, "Hold on, y'all, what the fuck? Five, you 5 idiots. What's going on here? I don't see any actual production from whatever you say is
Mm-hmm.
happening." You know,
Right, and that's good because it incentivizes impact for
right,
your tasks.
right,
It's not just saying I did a jumping jack
right,
and now I'm going to accrue a small amount of points for
right,
creating noise.
right. Like I cleaned the kitchen, and I got it dirty again. But like, I cleaned it.
I bought a pizza. I ate it before I shared it.
And then you go in there and you're like, "The kitchen's not fucking clean." Like,
Yeah.
that task that you didn't have impact because, except on you, maybe for a few minutes before you messed it up again.
Yeah, and so maybe not paying people for vouching because that's just a social codependency thing. I'll just vouch for you as a friend because I know you'll vouch for me.
Right.
So we don't pay people, but so is it simply that coin gets generated when it's either minted by us or bought? But also, if we're minting it costs us nothing.
See, this is the thing, man. This is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, if it's minted by work, that's basically the same as saying, you know, you'd have to be like, "Here's $4 chicken for your 10 bread dollars." And then we can just like trade those around. But as soon as somebody needs a chicken, then wherever that $chicken is, that chicken comes from me and goes to the person holding the dollar, holding the $chicken. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because those were specific dollars representing my specific 10 chickens. Right?
it like sounds like holochain where it's like, hey guys, we
They're
have
basically like contracts. This is a chicken. Node.
yeah.
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 This is a node of chicken.
Or it's almost like, well, like that clothing exchange that those girls went to, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like 10 people in a room go together and there's a table in the middle.
Yeah.
And we all put on the table what we're willing to get rid of.
Right.
And then we look around and go, oh, that's interesting. And that's interesting. But that person might go, oh, I don't want your thing, but I want that person's thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go, what does this person want? We're just looking at the table going,
right.
Where are these lines going?
Right.
And we have...
It's like a white elephant.
Yeah. Yeah. And when it finally connects back, then the entire thing fires.
Yeah.
Like a lightning bolt. Like it has all these potential.
Right.
And then one connection and then...
Right.
Yeah. Like the chicken dollars. You have... You have like the full transaction amount, and then you have like price per unit.
Yeah.
I want to get rid of 10 chickens, and I'm willing to accept one guitar.
Yeah.
Therefore, the system goes, roughly speaking...
Please hold. Yondu's arrow.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's like Dogma. Yeah.
Because they couldn't afford to shoot the fight scene.
Like a tennis ball on hockey stick. Never wins.
Kevin Smith's like, well, we don't have the budget for fight choreography, so we'll just show the observer.
Some sound effects. Yeah, we blew it on the shit monster.
Right, exactly.
Only before 1 minute. I think that's where the currency actually acts as a catalyst, because the challenge to create all these threads just kind of gets difficult.
Right, you need like a rigid structure to kind of like lean off of that's gonna like, you know, yeah, it's like invisible handshake. It kind of forces you to like market evaluate what's worth what in relationship to what, like how much money is someone willing to use. It's just like there's only so much money, so like at first I probably gave you way too much for that piece of pizza, but over time we realized that like actually based on the network effects, like this pizza's probably only worth like whatever. But if it's just kind of arbitrary and the fucking Federal Reserve is just like have money all you want, banks basically.
Mm-hmm.
Banks are like, okay, we're creating more money because like we have like loans that we created, and then if we have those loans, then we can do like 10x more loans. Like what? Like I don't even understand fractional reserve. They're like, it seems like there's either something I'm missing or it's fucking retarded. Yeah.
Yeah. It just happens to work because it's a pain in the ass to build a bank.
Right.
But it's just a distribution.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I guess we have representatives, and then they ask for the loan from the Fed, and then they create that into being, and then they give that to banks. But then the banks can like create more funds to loan based on the funds they hold. But so basically, like all this to say, like you can have a rigid currency that functions like that in the market fluctuations, the network effect that kind of like ends up accurately evaluating things based on like there's this rigid structure to kind of push off, to like push against and feel like where is the edge of this versus that here. Um, but it needs to be like collectively decided like what it's made of, how it functions,
Mm-hmm.
like the power dynamic of the relationship of we created it to being over here, we loan it to you, and you owe more of it back to us is inherently stupid. It's more like here's a money supply that we're going to distribute evenly, and then you all can use it in the system, and you spend more or less on different things until you all kind of realize what's what to you. But like there's not going to be more. There's plenty. Just use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like if you hoard it, what? I guess you can do that. And I guess that makes it worth more because it's more scarce. But if you have all the members of the co-op who can make decisions about bullshit that might be happening, then what do you do? Or how do you preempt that anyway to disincentivize people wanting to hoard it? Like, yeah, do you burn it on them if they sit on it too long? Then there's less in the system anyway. That wasn't the point.
What came up for me there was
You just tax them for holding it to get some back into the system.
or yeah, that's interesting. You get taxed on like your bank account.
Right.
Or one thought was you subsidize transactions. So I'm offering to sell chickens at $10 a pop. No one's buying, but then we, as the Gratigen bank account, subsidize $2.
Yeah.
It's like we pay for 20% if it goes through.
Right.
And then someone says, "Oh, I'll buy them for 8." Then we know the market value.
Right.
No, but then people could just be like, "I'm selling it for 100," and then we'd subsidize it. Well, no, it's like we're only subsidizing a small amount.
Yeah.
But to incentivize the transaction,
Yeah.
it's like a reverse tax.
Right.
If you transact, we'll give you a discount.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's the flip of taxing for hoarding. You're
Right.
aiding the transaction.
Right. You get more if you spend sooner.
Uh-huh.
Which is basically, I mean, one mechanism of doing that is to devalue the thing the longer you hold on to it.
But it could be like, yeah, I'm selling my old cell phone, and someone really needs a cell phone, they can afford it. So you go, this is value. Yeah, some person doesn't have a cell phone. We help them get that.
I mean, what if it's just really slowly taking it's really slowly demiraging and redistributing. Because, like, if your pumpkin sits out there and rots, like, there's a chunk of the pumpkin you could still salvage and eat. But there's a certain portion that's, like, rotting back into the ground and delivering nutrients, like, back in to the system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you just leave it there, if you make pumpkin pie out of it right away, then it's like you get the full value of that pumpkin. But if you don't, then that value like slowly eats its way back into the system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like, how could that work? Is everybody sitting on coin longer than a year or something? It starts to just pull from them and distribute it evenly to everyone again. Because it can't, if it's doing that to everyone all the time and it's just like 10%, then you're just getting 10% from the system that you. But I guess if you're a bajillionaire, 10% of yours leaving versus your percentage of the 10% of everyone else's, you're losing more than you're getting. So I guess that would work. The whole system is just constantly, really slowly falling, distributing to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right, like the demurrage could go into the community pot.
Or literally into everyone's account, right? Into the community pot, essentially.
Oh, I see what you're saying. If
yeah.
it's degrading in someone's account,
Yeah.
it just doesn't die. It gets sprinkled
Exactly.
everywhere.
Exactly.
So then you have maybe like a transaction bonus. Like we have 100.
What's a good decay rate? Like in a year, it's worth half as much? Or is it like fell 10%? So if you have more money, you want to spend it sooner because your decay rate is faster than the sprinkle. Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you only have $10 and there's an even sprinkle everywhere, maybe getting $1 a year, but only losing like 10 cents.
Yeah, that's where I think some academic papers are
Right.
come in.
Yeah.
Someone's done some numbers.
Yeah.
I'm sure Charles has an opinion. I do like that. It's like Monopoly, the community chest.
It's like taxes and welfare.
Yeah.
We're gonna grab some of this from you to sprinkle around to basically like make it work for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Which, in a way, I was just thinking of loans. Because I know if I am not going to, if I have 100 in my account and I don't need it, could I loan it out? Some sort of auto accepted contract, like.
Right. Better to put it down on someone's project than to let it degrade in my account.
Right.
Maybe if it's living on an active thing, then it's not degrading.
Right.
Right.
But then back to the harvest of like an epic.
Right.
Do you have that return after the completion?
Right.
The contract of ROI.
Right.
But that's the best. Yeah. Your savings account is other projects
Right.
you believe in, your investments.
Right.
It's not just holding it.
Right.
Like regular banks give you a certain interest just for holding.
Right.
We're giving you you're getting a better percent on investing. And in fact, we de-incentivize holding.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we can just write
Because
code.
then we could still have a stable amount of currency in the system. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You can still use it. You can still accumulate it. It doesn't hurt you that bad unless you have a fuck ton. Like the Demirage. You can use it as an exchange currency. It does you more good to lay it on a thing. Let them utilize it for return. For the return of like actual positive activity, economic activity. It's, yeah. So like, who creates it in the first place? Well, everyone. How much? Well, as much as everyone will need. How do we decide who gets how much? Well, at first everyone just gets what they need, I guess. Or enough to use and play with, at least for now.
Yeah, I think the trick is that we can change anything, so nothing really has to be locked in.
Yeah. Not yet.
I think the protocols will be refined. Yeah, I mean that's the whole question. Do we give $100 and you create a new user? Do we give $10 a day? Do we give $10 a day, but it deletes every day if you don't use it? Yeah, because you don't want to just create an account and then just wait. I guess do nothing. Come back in a few months and you have a couple thousand. It's like you get it's almost a voucher. It's worth something if you spend it. We do, this is again the first principles. We do know that people need some amount to get going, take care of their needs, or just a sufficiently easy way to generate that. How about something like if you have an org and you put bounties on tasks, that's almost like a loan. If the task gets completed, then Gratigen will fund it, help fund it.
Well, I suppose. Yeah, you're right, bro. That's basically like them minting the coin into being when they do work, is we just give them some play money when they do the thing.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Because they can't cash out. They still have to use the coin in the system.
Yeah.
But they got it for doing the work.
Yeah.
And we've effectively funded an organization, which is our goal, because that means someone has managed other people enough so that tasks were completed. It was tracked. I mean, they're basically beta testers until this thing is locked in.
Yeah.
So Claire runs music night. She creates the tasks, set up and break down and whatever, or manage the stand. Someone does that task. Well, then the question is how much is getting minted? She can't say that this is worth $100 an hour.
Right.
So,
well, unless she does make a cash offer or coin. And people say, yes, I'll take coin. And then we mint it into being when they do the work. They now have that coin. They accepted it instead of $10 from Claire.
mm-hmm.
Claire now didn't have to spend the $10.
Mm-hmm.
They now evaluate that coin as $10.
Mm-hmm.
But then what are the parameters of like who can offer free like tasks? Who can offer tasks that somebody gets newly minted tokens to pay for? Like now Claire didn't have to pay that $10. But can then I just be like, yeah, can't just mint you 10 tokens because I offered you, 10 token fucking walk in the park. Like, Claire's validated to kind of create that money into existence. Benefits her. This person did work for it. She got work done for it, but didn't have to do anything for it. But what do they have to do for it? Now it's just like basically the same as like just handing her a million token and saying do whatever you want with this. If you could get people to take it, cool, that evaluates it. If they take it instead of work.
I think a fiat transaction has to be in there somewhere. I think we as a company are trying to get people to bring fiat in, convert it to our coin. It'll stay in our company bank account because it gets converted into coin, used throughout the system, and demiraged or taxed or something back out of the system, and then we kind of control. But just from a company perspective, that's our ideal scenario. Meaning, if she wants like an upfront investment in these tasks, because everything needs upfront investment somehow, just to get something going.
Yeah, somebody has to at least do a thing.
Right.
Initiate.
That creates value in some way.
Yeah.
That gets either a product sold or an event put on. Those things create an external world value. Here's tickets that a lot of people want. They come from outside. They're coming in like new users. We're like paying Claire to help bring on board people through the music night, but really onto our system.
Yeah.
We're funding that, but I think we need to then take a return.
Right.
We're just giving her a loan.
Yeah.
Here's $100. Put it in your account. It gets dispensed to the doers.
Yeah.
Things had to happen.
Yeah.
Things did happen. A product or service or event was created. Value, ticketing. And our software can help with all that. Yeah. Which is unique. Then back to like we'll give you, I don't know. Yeah. Is it like a 1-to-1? And then like we get $100, like we'll sell you 100 coin for $100. You just don't have to pay the $100 until after the epic, after the harvest. Our software will help you manage that whole process. And it's like Scrum and Agile and Gantt charts and whatever.
Yeah.
Because we're incentivized to say, we want to get our return in the fiat. And it is free for us if we're actually just incentivizing the tasks getting done.
Yeah.
We give her 100 fake dollars.
Yeah.
She gives 10 fake dollars to all these people.
Yeah.
They go, okay, well, we think this is good.
Yeah.
Like they're good for the money. We'll do the thing.
Yeah.
The thing was done. The event happened. Tickets were then sold.
Yeah.
Fiat comes in.
Right.
Claire's going, well, I need to make more than $100 at least.
Yeah.
Or if I come out even fine, because it's a good thing that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Or this worked fine, but next time I'll charge $20 a ticket and make $200.
Mm-hmm.
We get our return back.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's an interest-free loan.
Yeah.
We just get the 100 back.
Yeah.
Fuck, where did the task people go? But they got $10.
I mean, more and more, I just think about like an arcade. You know, you put your $10 in the little machine, you get 100 tokens,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't know, but maybe it's like if you owned a skee ball machine there. You know, so I bought 2,000 tokens. I got a skee ball machine. Now I get all the tokens that go into it. You know. And then people come in, they buy their tokens, they play your skee ball machine a ton. Somebody else owns a shitty claw game, nobody fucking played that. Everyone hates those games. So you didn't get that many tokens.
Disappointment in a
Maybe
box.
you didn't get enough tokens to like actually, you know, maybe it was a bad investment. You put in 2,000 for your claw game, but you only get like 10 tokens a month out of it. Skee ball machines just fucking fly in. The pinball machines are like a G a month. But like,
Yeah.
you know, people just come in and spend tokens, and then you're like, okay, now I'm getting all these tokens, and like, I want to play a bunch of arcade games too, so I'll just spend it here. Maybe I need cash too. So here's my little token selling machine next to my skee ball machine. So I can like sell my tokens back out for cash. But basically, like, we want everyone in the arcade and invested in the arcade.
Yeah, right. Like when at a casino, does it become useful for like to sell drinks for chips?
Right. Well, in a casino, they don't charge for drinks.
Right. Well, because the game is to lose.
Right.
So the more you play,
The stupider you are,
what?
the better.
Yeah,
The dumber they get you, the better. Yeah, for sure.
I didn't quite follow with the token in the skee ball. Like you make an investment in the machine and it has a better ROI. Yeah, that's like most anything. It's like give me a loan so I can buy a spot and put up a coffee shop.
Right.
And they run the numbers, and you know, over this it'll get a return, whatever. Like that's all business is, just a projected organization of. I mean, we can mint our own money. We can facilitate these transactions.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a lot of volunteer type activity.
Mm-hmm.
So most people probably won't need like market rates for things. I got lost in that whole, if we put an upfront loan How does that get redispensed?
No loans.
Yeah.
Staking.
Okay. What if there's just no upfront value? It's like, here's a task. It's just the concept of a task. The floors need to be swept. So the idea of a task gets honed into something like a 10-minute thing. Trash needs to be taken out. Lights need to be set up. The drum set. And that's like the gift economy thing. Like it's a volunteer task, but you just know I'll work for and I'll get gifts.
Yeah.
Like if you did value my service, then give me something.
It's like granting a request. Because offers and requests are like gifts, basically. Requesting a gift and offering a gift. Right?
Yeah.
An offer, it's not a product. A product is a product. A service is a service. An offer is a gift.
It's that initial contract.
Right.
I don't actually expect anything for this. This is just.
Right. So then I can accept an offer. I can grant a request. Yeah, and then is it like between 1 and 5 units of gratitude, or 1 to 10 based on how grateful you are? You know, and you're just like, yeah. No, you know. I mean, like,
This is why no one's figured this out.
I'm a 1 out of 10 gratitude for this sketch, Eric. It could have been a fucking yacht, but it was a blanket, so like.
I'm the
spectrum of gifts that I could have gotten.
I am the least possible grateful. It's like a little gift. It's like, thank you.
Thanks for doing your job. Oh my gosh. Did you ever see that YouTube video? It's like a mom and she's like with her son at this restaurant. Somebody's filming and she's like, Jeremy, say thank you to the waiter. The kid looks at the waiter and he's like, thank you for doing your job. He's probably like 8.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh. So yeah, you know what? We're like, that is not right. It was like, yeah, thank you should just be like, bam, 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 bam. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, cool. Not like, give it a 5.
Yeah. Also, if you can give there's always the flip of like if it's a gift, like if it's just tips, you can get more than what you asked for.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
If people are grateful, if they have us like a set price, it could deter people from being generous.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could request a specific gift dollar amount just from the field. Now we're talking like,
I mean, I like the gratitude thing of if it's just open ended.
yeah,
Like I'm technically not expecting anything from this,
right,
but basically, if you want me to do it again
right,
in the future,
right.
if you think I did a good job, if you want reliability,
Yeah.
then you will pay me if it was worth it to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's where, to me, the exciting flow is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Like the kid, it's like, well, you're getting paid for your job, so shut the fuck. I don't need to be grateful.
Yeah.
Versus someone did something, I want to reflect the impact.
Yeah.
So, where was I going with that? Right, bartending for the evening, Riverside. It's almost like technically speaking, you're volunteering,
Mm-hmm.
but there's an assumed contract that if you want to do it in the future, you'll get paid a decent amount.
Mm-hmm.
So you go do a thing as just a here's my gift of gratitude. I'm helping bartend for the Riverside, which is a big example, obviously. But
I think we just have to keep the frame of like everything the way you already normally do it is totally possible through the system.
uh-huh.
And if you want, you can do anything you already do and make it again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, well, I think it's awesome that the checklist already like I can add points to it. That's cool. I guess those are basically just like yum points, you know.
Yum.
Yeah, just like thanks, good job, gratitude, gratis, grats,
Grace.
grace. Um,
Yeah.
we should throw that up there on all the cards with my thumbs up, thumbs down. You know, put a heart next to it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Yeah.
we even use that as a template for how would a currency work. But we don't want to make every one of those a document. That just needs to be kind of like an incrementer, I think. I guess. Just like one boulder. It's like whatever.
Wait, say that again. No, what's not a document?
Oh, the little grat points.
Yeah.
Like when I'm just up clicking the tasks. It's kind of like a like button, but it's like, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Maybe we limit them, and everyone just gets like 100 a month automatically, or fucking 1,000 a month. It's just like an incrementer.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't die. You don't get more. They don't mean if you have a lot. If you have a lot sitting, that's not the same as a lot sitting that you've been gifted to from them. It's like grats received, grats givable, 1,000. Grats received, 1,000. I don't know, something like just kind of like the original metric. Right, and then there's the layer of like currency, and that's like an actual doc, record, and history that has like some exchange value. Like exchange units versus just like you're running fuck yeah meter. Which ideally, having the flow set up to complete a task, there was some coin laying on that task and it transferred.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basic use case is obvious. The ability to add to the pot of the bounty of that task.
Mhm.
I didn't assign it. I'm not going to do it, but I want it to be done.
Mhm.
So I'm adding to that.
Yeah.
Then
I'm just transferring a few of my coin documents onto this task.
Yeah.
And then whoever completes it, they get those.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to add mana to that card.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I'm investing in this community action.
Right.
So creek cleanup, I'll add $1 per trash bag.
Right.
And then we track when it gets completed, the vouching of who assigned it was verified.
Mm-hmm.
That then gets transferred. So that task card becomes that person's. It was the managers, now it's the workers. That was like the ownership over that action was now theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Which in a way is like they are the most affiliated person with that. Before
Mm-hmm.
Lauren wanted the trash to be taken out.
Mm-hmm.
I took out the trash. Therefore, I am now the owner of that task.
Mm-hmm.
It was an idea brought into action. I get the bounty.
Mm-hmm.
And the calculation is just how many individuals added certain amounts to it. Total that up. That's the value. That gets calculated in my user profile. If it's task completed, that means these funds are active in my account now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just, I mean, we know that has to be doable.
Yeah. I completed that task. I still have the card of it, still hold that document, the history of the task.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's where we can like leave the gratis points on that card doc, and they just accumulate into mine. So like, yeah, there's like two different kinds of currencies happening. One is actual fully documented coin, and one is just like gratis points. You know, but those gratis points basically live on that task forever. That task card, so you can go back and you can see like what it was, how much of this thank yous there was.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's all an incrementer, but the doc transfer is a different thing.
That's the question, right? If we go back to the each coin is a document, and we're transferring that.
Yeah.
That can only operate on the dollar level, not the penny level.
Right. Basically.
But we want penny level transactions.
Mm-hmm.
If it lives on the dock, that's it. It's on the card. It's got the history in print. Here's the history of ownership, history of funding channels.
I think we use both those. Yeah. Yeah, I think we just create a coin model. Create a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. Maybe we just create 10,000 for starters. Give like a few hundred to our friends.
Yeah, I'm starting to see just the hybrid of systems.
Yeah.
Which might help towards the communal validation.
But if we have coin docs that are accumulating data and moving around, like eventually if we want to start an ERC20 token, we can just be like, okay, everyone who has one of these coin docs gets an equivalent ERC20 token, and now they're just that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Or we can just be like, in-game currency, here you go. Buy it from us, we'll give you some free. You know, eventually we'll blockchain this up somehow.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be limited. Be it in co-op share representation, stake representation, stake token. Ultimately, right now it's just a game. You buy your fucking $500 super sword in your Diablo game. You buy it from Blizzard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
The real key is that there's the efficiency of transfer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not multiple steps. I just needed to transfer. Yeah, it kind of doesn't matter what the transfer value is. It's just the fact that it was validated. Well, if you have a task that can be contributed to that is like crowdfunding.
Yeah, exactly.
Claire Justin doesn't actually have to worry about payroll for people doing stuff.
Right.
Like, if I want to show up to the dance, I would happily donate $5 toward to the person doing the task.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm less inclined if they go, "Hey, we really could use $150 every night because that's what this whole thing costs.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, please donate." And I'm thinking, well, how much should I donate? Is that person donating? And what's the thing?
Right.
Are we doing ticket prices? But if I go, I can donate $5 and that will pay for someone to sweep the floor
Mm-hmm.
for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's getting done. I'm contributing.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's getting paid. We're not debating overhead and pay rates.
Mm-hmm.
So there's power there
Yeah.
of just getting it done and like crowdfunding.
Right.
Because if 100 people are showing up at the dance, there's no reason why the whole thing shouldn't be like at least paid for.
Yeah. You'd think so. $5.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Instead, as it evolved, it's like Justin and Logan had this whole like weird speech at every closing circle. It's like a church speech. It's like the philosophy of giving.
Right.
If you truly embody the dancing spirit, then please donate and give. It's a weird connection.
Yeah.
But if, hey, we want a new sound system because ours is janky,
Yeah.
and here we found one in the community for 100, can it be crowdfunded? That's.
I mean, at some point, Richard has a mortgage.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Justin has a kid. You know? I mean, I love Justin's approach of like, yeah, this is a gift, and we have a wish list too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'd like to. It would be sustainable for us if we got paid this amount. How do you want to contribute?
Right.
Do you want to pay for tasks, your resources?
Right.
Do you want to do the tasks?
Yeah. Yeah. Will you contribute something?
Mm-hmm.
If not, it's still a gift. It's not. It ain't like that. You know. But will you?
Mm-hmm. Which is the foundation of human connection.
Right.
It isn't like that. I'm only here because I'm paid.
Yeah.
It's like the moment you stop paying me, I'm out. There's no loyalty. There's no trust. There's no
Right.
security in the future. This is, if you can pay me, great. Probably won't show up in the future if there's nothing coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here to facilitate this operation.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're all building the trust expectations as it over time.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I got people trying to figure out if I'm fucking going to Omaha on Saturday. I gotta talk Dakota into letting me use my car her car if I do. Based on the orders, I probably only make like a couple grand. That's a lot better than zero. What's going on? I mean, actually, I'm like negative 1,500 in my bank account, so I can't even use my bank account right now. I can just close the account and pay it off whenever I have it. But That sucks. Anyway, probably make a decision on like Wednesday. But I guess right now I'm feeling like I might probably do that. My boy with the pounds is like, please sell these. My friends out there are like, are you coming back yet? I'm like, that feels good.
Mm.
Like it's there. It's I could just make it happen again.
Yeah, if they're, yeah, right. That drives me to have a financial, like, not to, like, I don't know, someone like, um, like in the same way of getting people to crowdfund an operation or a task. Like for our purposes, there's people adding bugs and feature requests. It's going to be the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
It has to be that easy where anyone who has feedback request be like, add 10-cent bounty to this task.
Mm-hmm.
10 people do that, it's $1, but it should be that easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you and I could be like working on the app and getting little dollars here and there.
Mm-hmm.
There's just all these different models or ways we can go at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it comes down to just recording the work.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is a core piece. It's gratogen. It's I want to move my energy, my heart energy,
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. But I don't think I'm gonna make more than 1,000 this week. Not even close.
More than 1,000 what?
Just compared to whether you go to Nebraska or
Yeah. Hey, buddy. Hello. What's up? Yo.
Nothing, but I started trimming today,
Oh fuck yeah! How many?
It's better fire.
Yeah,
These
fuck
songs get better and better and better. I'm actually letting them go a little longer.
Nice.
So I'll have at least 7.
Oh yeah. All right, perfect.
I mean, if you want.
I think that's probably about what I can move this time. Yeah.
Alright, can we do it the 3rd, 4th though? Like right around then? I gotta pay this lady.
Yeah. Well, I could. The soonest I can leave is Saturday morning, and then I could be back basically Sunday afternoon.
What day was the date? Saturday?
I don't know.
4th?
I don't know.
Start around there.
Yeah.
That'll work. For sure, for sure. Just get it all planned out.
Yeah, for sure. I'm
Alright.
working it.
Alright, brother.
Bye, brother.
Alright.
Peace.
Yeah, I'm reading through the concept page about DHT on Holochain,
Nice.
and it makes sense. It's basically like two islands exist. They have a radio tower and they can talk. Storm comes through, blows out the radio tower. Now these two islands have their own like non-synchronized, but they have like parts of the hash table, and they can talk amongst themselves. But again, I feel like when AWS is insufficient,
Right.
and until then, everything we do is way faster.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll go to this thing tomorrow. We'll we'll learn a bunch about blockchain. Maybe we're still considering creating a ERC20 token, basically. Or, yeah. Or like some kind of fractionalized NFT, and then that's our token that we use in the system. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we meet someone who's done that already and loves our
Right.
project, and
Right.
maybe that person has big tits.
Maybe. Maybe they have a dick too. No? Oh. I thought you liked sex stuff.
You have a point. Can't argue with that.
You don't like sex? Yeah, it has too many active changes. What the fuck? How are there so many active changes in my Git repository? I don't understand that.
Active changes.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Active changes in the Git repository. Which one?
It's not clear.
Wow, okay. Holochain Gym.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go into one of the people, create entry, new content string, execute. That's how this.
What did that just do?
So you created a string in that, and it
Okay.
sent that system validation, that validation cell workflow
Yep.
to like the best nodes
Right.
to update that. And then it gets updated.
Right. Okay.
So that's where that software is.
Cool.
And, right. It's just a distributed database update.
Right.
It's all predicated on the idea that there's a bad actor in the system who can hack their own software. But if we just ensure that the only time anything is changed is when our server code is run, and we do our own checks on surrounding nodes that get updated. Yeah. It's like run a test, see if the user calculation matches with the doc calculation and some other thing. If all these numbers align, great. Otherwise, we miss something. Like, that's our own basic blockchain, I think.
Right.
Like, we stored in a few places. Yeah.
Right.
If we were to delete the user and have to calculate it from all their connected transactions, how would we recreate it? If all the transactions were deleted and we just had the user info, how would that determine the balance? And we have a few more of those checks. I think by the time Holochain is working, we'll have our own rudimentary version.
And the way that you framed that question, pitching it as being about holochain, actually gets it right. So I just described holo host, right? This peer-to-peer cloud computing application. But the truth is, the thing that's really interesting to me and pretty much everybody else isn't that app. It's the larger pattern that app is enabling and supporting, this holochain infrastructure. This new way of running applications with no organization in the middle, no company in the middle. Now, holohost is a version of that, but holochain is this more general pattern that enables anybody to run an application using just the devices of the users themselves. So that means you can do Twitter with no company in the middle, Facebook with no company in the middle, Uber with no company in the middle, Airbnb with no company in the middle. And it's this whole company in the middle thing has come into focus recently with Cambridge Analytica and Facebook and all of the mess around surveillance and us being watched and manipulated by these companies that sit between us in order for us to communicate. All of that is just a side effect of the way that the web is architected. It wasn't the intention, but it was a consequence. When you run a website, you have to have a web server. Because when you type in a URL, it actually sends you to a specific machine, right? And initially we thought, oh, this will be me sending things from my machine to your machine. But people figured out pretty quickly it's a pain in the butt to keep a web server running. And so very quickly they started offloading those web servers to other folks. Right? I'll pay you, my web server company. And then eventually people figured out, man, it's nice if you don't have to set up your own web page, your own blog. Maybe somebody else can do a blog service. And all of a sudden, it's not us talking directly to one another. It's me sending a message to Facebook, and then Facebook sending that message to you. And then you replying to Facebook, and then Facebook forwarding that to me. It's this organization in the middle passing notes for the entire system. That's a centralized architecture. And so